I was going to have AI write the speech today, but we reached a compromise. It writes the first draft, I write the final version, and neither of us take responsibility for the outcome. So Brian Johnson, that's a name kicking around at the moment, is this fantastical gentleman in America who is taking health science through his longevity research with himself as the guinea pig to a whole new level. Some people think he's mad, other people think he's a pioneer. Sounds like the American dream. He said something fascinating in an interview last week that I heard. Quote, "Artificial intelligence is advancing at a speed that is unfathomable to our current minds. We are bringing online the equivalent of billions of hours of PhD-level intelligence to find new discoveries about health and wellness that can change our lives. The technological thrust and movement forward is the most powerful force in the entire world." End quote. I see no reason why resource management is not in the same position at the same threshold. The idea of this group is not for us to come along and go into operations and say, you need to do this, or you need to do that, or you need to take on this model. It's about asking the question, what are the best AI models and ideas in the world right now, with a focus on government and resource management? Let's get these innovations and the representatives into this chamber, whether in person or virtually, and let's try and see if these ideas may permeate throughout our organisation, throughout our thinking. By live streaming these sessions, we extend beyond the building, ensuring our community also gains access to these conversations and ideas. And I have much more to share on this, but recognising today's substantial agenda, I'll reserve additional comments for the strategy and policy meeting should this motion succeed. I would sincerely appreciate your support for this motion today. Thank you.
Kia ora, Councillor Davies. Councillor Scott, do you want to speak now? Reserve. So happy to go around the room and people to speak. And if you've got questions, you can ask them and Joe will be able to answer them if he can. All good? So, Greg?
Thanks, Mr. Chair. I'm going to support this. I do have a couple of questions, though, based around it's an informal group, but you're sort of setting up a formal process for it. What sort of obligations on staff, like cost and time, do you envisage? As a question, anyway. Thank you.
That'll come back to the Strategy and Policy Committee.
Okay, and as I said, I'm going to propose this. It's interesting too, when I saw the makeup of the group, I couldn't think of a more complete name of people that speak to me for artificial intelligence, so kia ora.
Vicky.
Yeah, kia ora. So I'm in support of the working group. I'm in support of sort of working groups just in general. But what I'm interested in is whether the amount of time that are you expecting as it's coming back to strategy and policy to take time up within the strategy and policy time that we're allocated as a committee? And the reason I ask that is because I've had some pushback around bringing in expert speakers of direct relevance to some of our work, taking up much less time than what you're proposing here, which is up to 12 hours over 6 months. So I'm just wanting to understand, are you looking at having these meetings and outside of the strategy and policy time?
Yeah, the committee is just the reporting mechanism. If you read, the terms of reference, it's an absolute sitter into that committee as the terms of reference talks about technological developments and how that's shaping things. But again, I'll leave that to the officers and their report back to the Strategy and Policy Committee meeting.
Thank you. Vicky, you got another question?
Yeah, just because when we've talked about AI previously, it's been raised through essentially under delivery with resource management and actually already doing that. So, and there is a working group reference in the terms of reference for delivery committee. So happy for it to come back, but I think it would be good to see in the report the sort of, where the rationale is for which of those two committees it fits best with.
Thank you.
I'll come back to that point. I'll just bring up a document if Peter would like to speak or second.
Yep, all good. Genevieve?
I actually am of a contrasting opinion. I I don't think it's a necessary working group, but I mean, each to their own. If it goes ahead, let it be. But I actually have concerns about, some of the background of AI as it is at the moment and the ability for it to sort of become other things. And with regards to a public entity like this, I have concerns about privacy violation, market volatility, cybersecurity risk, and in general, for an environmental council, also have the concern of it's been quoted as being an energy hog in general, and it has the tendency at the moment, as it is, to use as much energy as a small country. It ushers the ability for more use of fossil fuel resurgence, and in some areas is already challenging energy grid. So, sorry. No, I actually support the concept of a working group, but its ability to become something I have concerns about.
Thanks, Genevieve. Do you want to respond yet?
Yeah, just a quick response. I think, yeah, exactly. It'd be good to get experts in to talk about those environmental concerns. And just around the responsibility of the Strategy and Policy Committee, this committee will, Clause 6, evaluate political, environmental, social, technological, economic, and legal dimensions to inform direction and decision making.
Thank you. John?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will support the motion. AI technology is the future. The Strategy and Policy Committee is, in my mind, to be forward-looking and looking at opportunities for the future. And this is the future. It's here today, so it's not necessarily the future. So whatever we can glean from that and from a committee that's looking at the opportunities, I think I'm all for it. Thank you.
Thanks, John. I've got Councillor DJ Paul online. Did you want to speak?
Yes. Actually, I was going to say very much the same what Councillor Robinson had said. The hugely high use of power alongside the heat generation and the cooling is needed for that, and the carbon footprint of AI is still yet to be really dealt with. And as she pointed out, they are keeping coal-fired burning generation online to support AI in various places around the world now. So I'm wary of jumping too fast into something without those considerations.
Thanks, Paul. Grant?
Just for clarity, the group's not talking about setting anything up in terms of machinery and the mechanics of it. You're simply looking at information gathering and the passing on of that information to see if it is of value further down the track for the organisation. Is that correct?
Correct.
Just related to that, because you're sort of focusing on the resource management sort of issues. Have you talked to staff about the operational side of AI? And because I'm aware of two things in terms of operational stuff and regional delivery sort of stuff that the Director of Operations may know more about. And one of them is the biosecurity team have already been investigating artificial intelligence for use in using high resolution GIS imagery to identify Nasala tussock. And I think that research that's going on there by our team is developing. If it's not developed in use already, but it's certainly been trialled, I think. And the other thing, I think we had a briefing a while ago about biodiversity and using GIS imagery to identify pockets of biodiversity through Canterbury, and they can then be mapped and those sort of things. So is that something that your group would pursue, or is it something that's an aside?
It could be.
Thank you, Grant. Sorry, I've got Ian and Yayan, and then a few others after that, but we'll just get through those two.
Joe, do you think artificial intelligence could replace the councillors?
No comment.
No comment.
Well, that's a pity, but I intend to vote for it anyway.
Ian?
Kia ora koutou. Yeah, in principle, I will probably support this. A couple of issues. One's the name. The other one's the membership. And also, what's the cost? Do we know the cost on this roughly?
Yeah, the name's just pretty straightforward around what it is. The membership was the councillors who responded to me at the end of last year when I put out a call for interest, and cost will come back to that report in April.
Just follow-up question through you, Stephanie, if I can ask, through the chair to ask Stephanie. In the sense of staff-wise with IT, is there a kind of an internal staff AI kind of work going on at this present time?
Through you, Chair, yes, we're certainly working on some of those matters. As is central government, you'll have noticed that there have been documents and policies already put out to the nation on this. And I would imagine that officers would come back as is be requested should this proceed.
It's more that, I mean, it's got Canterbury Regional Council, we are Environment Canterbury, so we'll work on that one.
Thank you. Nope.
Kia ora. Hey, I mean, as I've been asked to actually be on this group because when you look at councils across New Zealand that have actually done the same initiative, there's quite a number of them, namely Wellington, Auckland, Hamilton, Christchurch, and a lot of the commonality is actually about community engagement, infrastructure, and data analysis. So it's the same kind of situation here, is that they just need to know more because they know that if you don't actually embrace technology or even understand it, well, then you kind of get left in everyone else's dust. So that's the reason for this, completely tautoko. The progressiveness of this, in some ways we're talking about the members on the committee, we're talking about different things. So just embrace it. I think it's a working group. It's actually going to come back and kind of, give some really good information that will actually enable informed decision on AI. Kia ora.
Thank you. Nick? And I've got you noted, Claire. Yep. There you go.
Yeah, I'm totally embracing this. I mean, as in my former life as a farmer, I always embraced new technology, and it's amazing what data and information you can gather from that and what business decisions you can make going forward. So I think we just need to see it as an opportunity and you go forward and learn from it.
Thanks, Nick. And Claire?
Yeah, look, thanks for bringing this notice of motion, Councillor Davies. I'm not a fan of working groups, and I noticed that I did respond to this particular one, and now it's getting a bit more formalised. But I do actually agree with Councillor Karako's comments there around if we don't actually start understanding some of the realities of the technological advances, particularly AI, data collection, how this can be actually used, alongside the risks that are associated with it, be that cybersecurity or data security or whatever it may be, I think that we are going to get left in the dust. So I'm all for this notion of motion being supported today.
Thanks, Claire. And I think that's everyone. We'll go back to you, Peter. Oh, you can only speak once in a debate. Sorry. So, where you go.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Look, the width of the debate's been great. For me, it's about trying to understand the thing that Joe fully understands. And I've sat next to him for a while and watched him use the technology, and I'm just astounded by what he gets out of it. I mean, for me, it will shed some light on what we're dealing with here and hopefully nominate some of the pitfalls that we also have. Intelligence for me has always been an organic intelligence that I've had to take care of myself. It's been one of those gone from seen but not heard things, so we're sneaking around the edges trying to pick up some information. And that generation, not alone in this room. I can see a couple of fellows that probably come from the same generation, and we've learnt through our experience and the research and the education and the time that we've had to put in ourselves. And I'm just astounded by how he can ask something, and it may use energy knowledge, but I don't criticise that. And it comes back with this preciseness that I just can't figure out who's doing it or how it's doing it. So for me, it's uncovering some of that and where this is likely to lead us. So thanks, Joe, for this. I think you're the right guy to be in charge of this, because you I don't know if you fully understand it, Joe, but you certainly understand a hell of a lot more than I do. Thank you.
Okay, we'll go back to you, Joe. You happy? Okay, thanks, everybody. Let's put this to the vote. All those in favour, please say aye. Any against? Councillor Robinson, you'd like that noted? Is that you? Was that you, Councillor DJ? Sorry.
Yes, against.
Against, yep. Cool. So everyone else was for. That's just checking. All good. And we'll note that. Happy with that? Cool. That's carried. Thank you.